All right, hey everyone, buckle up, because today we are diving deep into Arcane.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, we're going to be tackling the show's morality,
Uh-huh.
using this source, morality and shades of gray in Arcane.
Yeah, Shades of Grey is right.
It's not your typical good guys versus bad guys kind of story.
Not at all. And you know what's so interesting? Right from the start, Arcane uses its animation to set up this world where good and evil are blurred.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, you've got Piltover all gleaming and advanced, right? Like,
Oh.
the animation style practically sparkles like it's infused with magic.
And then there's Zaun.
Exactly, Zaun the Undercity.
Undercity is right, it's all gritty and steampunk.
Yeah, it's a visual metaphor, I think, for the power imbalance.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It makes you immediately question, who are the good guys here?
For real, because it's not just about pretty pictures, right? The source points out how Piltover's success is literally built on Zaun's suffering.
It's true.
Like the people in power, they might even have good intentions, but
Maybe.
they're blind to the harm they're causing.
Or maybe even willfully ignorant. Right.
Exactly. It makes you wonder if good intentions even matter when
When the system itself.
the system is so messed up.
Yeah. That's where the systemic issues come into play. And this system, this rigged system, it's what makes characters like Silco so fascinating.
Oh, Silco. Talk about a morally gray character.
Right. On the surface, he's a classic villain.
Shimmer, violence, the whole 9 yards.
Dealing that shimmer, dangerously addictive drug.
Ravaging Zaun.
He uses violence to get what he wants.
But then there's Jinx.
Yeah, his adopted daughter.
Makes you wonder, is that affection genuine? Or is it just
Or just a way to control her.
a twisted form of control?
It's like the source makes me think it's both.
Yeah, maybe it is, and that makes him even more
Oh, absolutely.
dangerous.
Because it's like he genuinely thinks he's doing what's best for Zaun.
Right, even
Even if his methods are so messed up.
totally. He sees himself as fighting for their freedom, freedom from Piltover's grip. But it raises the question, can you really fight for freedom
Well, also.
while also manipulating and hurting people?
That's the question, isn't it?
And how much of his love for Jinx is real? How much is him just molding her into this weapon?
Yeah, it's tough to say.
Man, that's heavy stuff.
It really is.
Makes you wonder how anyone stays sane in this crazy world.
Right.
Speaking of, let's talk about Jinx.
Okay, Jinx.
She's not just some crazy gun-toting maniac.
No, she's not.
Her backstory is so important.
It really is.
Imagine losing your family,
Oh, I can't even imagine.
being betrayed by someone you love,
Terrible.
and being surrounded by constant violence. That's Jinx's reality.
That's her life, and it shaped her.
And the source, it really digs into how trauma shapes her.
Yeah, it does.
It's like the world keeps breaking her, piece by piece.
breaking her
and
down.
she lashes out in response.
Which leads us to the big question. Is she a villain or a victim?
Whoa, that's a tough one.
Arcane doesn't make it easy for us, you know?
No, it does.
It makes us confront that line, that blurry line between villain and victim.
It makes you think, can anyone really be labeled as purely good or evil?
When you consider everything they've been through.
Especially all the forces that shape them.
Exactly. It makes you question, how much free will do we really have?
Man, that is deep.
Right.
So we've got Piltover profiting off Zaun's misery.
Yeah.
A crime lord with some serious daddy issues.
Definitely.
And a traumatized girl turned walking weapon.
Not exactly a happy place.
Not exactly sunshine and rainbows, that's for sure.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Sure.
We have characters like Jace and Victor,
Oh yeah, they're interesting.
brilliant minds.
The geniuses behind Hex Tech.
Right, this magical technology-fueled power.
And they're trying to use it for good.
At least that's the goal.
Especially Jace, right? At the start, he's all about that idealistic progress.
Oh, yeah.
Believes in Hex Tech's potential to make the world a better place.
Yep.
But he's also caught up in Piltover's politics.
And that's where things get
A little messy.
slippery.
Yeah. Like he knows weaponizing Hex Tech is risky.
Oh, it's a huge risk.
But he convinces himself it's for the greater good.
That's a dangerous path.
Oh, tell me about it. You start compromising, thinking the ends justify the means.
And then before you know it,
Boom, you've crossed the line.
you've gone too far.
And then there's Victor,
Driven by his need to prove himself.
because of his limitation.
His physical limitation.
He wants to make his mark on the world,
To leave a legacy.
but he ends up embracing that hex core attack.
Which is super powerful, but also...
Super dangerous.
That,
I get wanting to push boundaries, but...
wouldn't you say Victor crosses a line?
Oh, I think he does.
At what point does ambition become too dangerous?
Even if you're the good guy.
Right. That's the thing.
Because even if his heart's in the right place,
His methods are
questionable.
Yeah.
It makes you think, what happens when good intentions meet?
Meet unchecked ambition.
Are the ends ever truly justified by the means?
Another tough question.
That's what's so thought-provoking about their story. It really is.
They represent these two sides of progress.
And neither one is totally right or wrong.
It really challenges us to think about the price of progress.
And who ends up paying it?
Oh, man. We've got power dynamics, trauma, ambition, all tangled up in this mess.
It's a lot to unpack.
Where do we even go from here?
Well, we're just getting started.
This is getting intense.
Welcome back. We're going to keep untangling these moral knots in Arcane.
Yeah, because we've got this whole web of characters.
Yeah.
And they're making choices that you just can't easily call good or bad.
It sounds so simple, is it?
And then you throw in their past, their traumas, their relationships. It gets even more complicated.
It's like the show throws the whole idea of a moral compass right out the window.
Exactly. Take Silco, for example.
Okay, Silco.
We talked about his feelings for Jinx, right? How he seems to really care for her.
Yeah.
But is that love enough to redeem him after all the harm he's caused?
That's the question.
I mean, the guy's running a criminal empire built on addiction and violence. He is, and the source points out this interesting paradox.
Oh, what's that?
Silco's love for Jinx, it's both genuine and manipulative.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
He sees her as a daughter, that much is clear. But he also molds her to fit his needs, you know?
To be his weapon.
To be his weapon in his war against Piltover.
It makes you wonder if love and control can even exist together.
Can they?
And is that love even healthy when it's all mixed up with so much darkness?
Those are the questions Arcane makes us grapple with.
It's like he's projecting all his pain and anger onto her, shaping her in his own image.
Yeah, it's not exactly healthy.
Definitely not Father of the Year material.
Not at all.
And then there's Jinx,
Jinx, she's a product of this environment
this cycle of violence.
that Piltover is responsible for.
But she also makes her own choices. And some of them, well...
Some of them are pretty terrifying.
So how are we as viewers supposed to judge her?
See, that's what I love about Arcane.
What's that?
It doesn't give us those easy answers.
No, it doesn't.
Jinx is both a victim of circumstance and an agent of chaos.
It's true.
Losing your family, Vi leaving, all that fear and instability.
It all played a role in her mental state.
For sure. But she also chooses to embrace violence.
To revel in it, even.
It really makes you consider
Yeah,
how much agency someone has when they've been through so much trauma.
okay, so judging individuals is messy in this world.
It is.
But what about the bigger picture?
Okay, the bigger picture.
We keep seeing this theme of ambition.
Ambition, right?
This desire to achieve something great.
To leave your mark on the world.
Jace and Victor embody that perfectly.
They do.
They start with good intentions, wanting to use Hextech for good, but
ambition.
Ambition can be a slippery slope.
It really can.
What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And the source argues that their downfall isn't so much about them being bad people.
No.
It's about power itself and how it corrupts.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Jace, he gets caught up in Piltover's politics, starts compromising his ideals.
For progress.
For the sake of progress, exactly.
But he ends up weaponizing Hextech, and that just escalates the conflict.
It shows how even good people can get caught up in a bad system.
And end up causing harm.
Yeah, without even realizing it.
And Victor, he's driven by this personal ambition.
To overcome his limitations.
To achieve greatness.
But that desire for power, it leads him down a dark path to that dangerous hex core tech.
Right. Which is scary.
It shows that ambition, even if it starts out good,
can blind you.
Can blind you to the consequences.
It's like a cautionary tale.
It is.
So we've got these big systemic forces, oppression, ambition, this idea of progress at any cost.
Yeah, and in the middle of it all,
we see these really personal struggles.
Stories of trauma and love and betrayal.
And then we have characters like V and Caitlin.
V and Caitlin, yeah.
Trying to bridge the divide between Piltover and Zaun.
Such a fascinating dynamic.
Can you talk more about that? What makes their relationship so important in this whole morality thing?
Well, they represent a glimmer of hope, I think.
Hope in this crazy world.
Yeah, they come from completely different worlds, right?
They do.
Vey, she's street smart, pragmatic, shaped by Zaun's harsh realities. And Caitlin, she's idealistic, privileged, Raised in Piltover's bubble,
They're like oil and water.
they clash constantly, challenge each other's views.
But that's what's so great about them.
Because through that friction, through those disagreements,
They start to understand each other.
they do. It's like they embody empathy and understanding.
In a world that seems determined to tear people apart,
It's a powerful message.
Vey shows Caitlin the injustices that Piltover inflicts.
Makes her confront the truth.
And Caitlin, she helps Vey see that maybe there's another way.
That change doesn't always have to come through violence.
It's not about one side winning or converting the other.
No, it's about finding common ground, respecting different perspectives.
Their relationship really is a powerful statement about bridging divides.
It is.
But let's not forget about Echo.
Oh, Echo, yeah.
Leading the Firelights. He's a symbol of hope in all this chaos.
He is. The source really emphasizes his choice
What choice?
to take a third path, to reject both Piltover and Silco.
He's trying to build something better, something more, just...
For his community, yeah.
And his relationship with Jinx?
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
It adds a whole other layer of complexity.
Because he cares for her, understands her pain.
But he also knows how dangerous she is.
And sometimes even the most compassionate people
Have to make tough choices.
to protect their community, even from those they love.
It goes back to that idea of individual choice versus the forces that shape us.
Exactly. Echo chooses to fight for a better future,
Even if it means confronting his past.
even if it means making difficult sacrifices.
It makes you think, can we ever truly escape the cycle of violence?
Or are we all just products of our past?
Man, that's a heavy question.
It is, and I think we all need a moment to process this.
Yeah, my brain is definitely doing some mental gymnastics right now. All right, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dives into Arcane's morality.
Yeah, time to try and make sense of it all, huh?
We've talked about so much, from the individual choices to those big systemic issues, but
Yeah.
what are WE supposed to take away from all this as viewers?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think what makes Arcane so powerful is that it doesn't give us easy answers or a list of rules to follow.
Right, it's not that kind of show.
It's more like it holds up this mirror.
To humanity.
Yeah, to humanity, showing us how messy morality can be in the real world.
It really does, because we've talked about how circumstances shape people.
Right, how good
Can
intention
backfire.
can go so wrong.
And how even love, like,
Can get twisted and manipulated.
it's like the show is saying, hey, don't expect simple answers here.
No, definitely not.
Remember that visual contrast between Piltover and Zaun?
Oh yeah, it's striking.
That's not just for show,
No, it makes us question who we think are the good guys.
because Piltover, all shiny and advanced.
It's built on Zaun's suffering.
The source calls it systemic injustice, which is such a good way to put it,
It is. The whole system is rigged against certain people.
which makes it hard to judge individual choices.
Right, because how much agency do they really have?
Like Silco, he thinks he's the hero,
He's fighting for Zaun.
but his methods are brutal.
They are. And it makes you wonder, when does fighting oppression become its own form of oppression?
It's like this crazy cycle.
A vicious cycle.
And Jinx, she's this whirlwind of trauma and chaos.
It's hard to watch sometimes.
But it forces us to ask, did she ever really have a chance?
How much free will does she ever have?
How much is her darkness a result of what Piltover did?
And how much is just her?
It's not about excusing her.
No, but understanding her.
Understanding that people are shaped by what happens to them.
By their experiences, yeah.
It makes you think about how responsible any of us really are for our choices.
Especially when the world seems stacked against you.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is, but there are some glimmers of hope in there, wouldn't you say?
Hope, yeah, like Vi and Caitlin.
They managed to find some common ground.
Despite all their differences.
They proved that understanding is possible.
Yeah, it's not about converting the other.
No, it's about seeing the world from someone else's perspective.
Even when it's hard.
That's what true empathy looks like.
And then there's Echo.
Who chooses a whole different path.
He rejects both Piltover and Silco.
He wants to protect his community, build something better.
He shows us that, even in a messed up world.
There's always the option to resist, to build something new.
To choose hope over despair.
Yeah, his story is really powerful.
So maybe the takeaway here isn't about finding the right answers.
No, because Arcane is all about questioning what right even means.
It's more about asking the right questions.
Exactly.
Like, how do these systems, these structures, shape our choices?
How do we balance our own freedom with our responsibility to others?
And what does it really mean to fight for justice in a world where good and bad are blurred?
It's not about feeling good or bad about the characters.
Right.
It's about understanding that complexity, that gray area.
Arcane makes us think.
And connect it back to our own lives.
Exactly. Because those questions about morality, they're relevant to all of us, even outside the show.
Absolutely. So as you go back to watching or just living your own life, think about the choices you make.
Yeah, think about the systems you're part of. And remember,
Remember that empathy and understanding are powerful tools.
in being willing to question your own assumptions.
That's so important.
Those can help us see the world a little more clearly.
And with a lot more compassion.
That's a great way to put it. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Arcane's morality.
I'm going to be thinking about this for a while.
Me too. We've covered power, trauma, ambition, and that glimmer of hope that keeps shining through.
It's been a journey.
Thanks for joining us on this ethical exploration. We hope it sparks some conversations
Yeah, get people thinking.
and helps you navigate your own moral compass with a little more nuance.
And understand.
Until next time, stay curious, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.